What's going on, everybody? GemMint here, and this is the new comic book day reviews for Wednesday, October 27th. However, I'm going to try to do something a little bit different this time. I always give you my non-spoiler reviews on everything that I read, but this time I think I'm going to talk about everything that came out this week, what I read, what I decided to pass on, what's the title that I dropped and for whatever reason, and see how that works out. Now, I'm not going to go over all of the comics that came out from some of the smaller publishers, but I'm definitely going to cover the big three and some of the other guys as well. So before we get into that, make sure to hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video. I think I'm actually going to do a giveaway for our 135,000 subscriber milestone. I think I'm going to give away some hardcovers and some omnis. Haven't really picked them out yet, but keep out on the lookout for that. And if you guys are looking to sell any comics or know somebody that wants to sell their collection, I've got just the guy paying top dollar for collections right now. Hit up Nick Barucci from Dynamite Entertainment. You can email him directly at nick.barucci@dynamite.com and mention GemMint Collectibles comic book collections in the subject if you're looking to sell. If you're looking to buy comics, check out their site at dynamicforces.com for all the latest comic books, variants, back issues, CGC books, and more. Use the code GemMint10 to save 10% every time you shop there. With that being said, let's go over some of the Joe Jusko variants that I picked up today. As you guys know, I'm a huge Jusko fan, specifically the 1992 Marvel Masterpieces, and I'm picking up all the variants. This one was actually from last week. It's for the Immortal Hulk 50, and it's the Thing vs. Hulk insert card. This was a chase card from the bonus set, so kind of cool to see them do that. Along with the next one for Wolverine 17, another one of the bonus cards, my favorite card, the Wolverine vs. Sabretooth. So you guys know I had to scoop this one up. We have the Sandman cover for Amazing Spider-Man 77, Day at the Beach. Black Widow 12 had the Black Widow cover. That's how I always knew a Black Widow, from these cards as a kid. For Daredevil 35, we have the Kingpin variant. You know, I had to get that one. Well, first of all, I'm going to get them all, but you know what I'm saying. For Inferno 2, we have Emma Frost. Very nice. White Queen. For Marauders 25, it's the Bishop cover. And the last one, which is also from Marauders 25, is the Kate Pride, Kitty Pride, Shadowcat. And I think there's just one more week, or that might be all of them, actually. And I actually need to see what I have to make sure I got them all. All right, so let's start with DC Comics. So, Detective Comics 1044 by Tamiki, Mora, and Belair. I was really digging this one, man. I love the art style here. I like the grittiness to it. Batman in the sewers. You have this Vile character kind of not being a one-trick pony, and the Vile character has done something that has led to a whole new story arc, basically. And I don't really want to give any spoilers out, but I really like where they went with this, and the mayor kind of stuck in the sewer, Batman trying to rescue him. And then this backup story, this new story of Arkham Rising, them trying to rebuild Arkham Asylum and use the same name, and there's kind of protests about it because there's so much bad juju along with the name. Even a flashback in this story of Dr. Arkham and all the crazy stuff he did when he was alive. So, solid book, man, this Detective Comics. Next up, we have Robin issue 7. This is by Joshua Williamson, Melenkov, Dunbar, and Guerrero. So I dug this one. I've been kind of critical of this series, but I thought this issue of Robin was cool. Again, with the manga on the front. I think they're trying to like give a little manga Easter egg in each one of these issues, but this is kind of a revelation issue, finding out who's really behind the tournament, what's really going on here, what's the reason that they're fighting to the death, with some cool fights and deaths and resurrections in this book as well. So this was a fast-paced, fun, informative issue of Robin. All right, guys, then we're on to Wonder Girl. We're on issue 4. This is by Jones, Mello, and Belair. Love this series. Love this Yara Flor kind of naive, wet behind the ears version of Wonder Woman. Here is very much like a training montage, and the art was great. They went from like a realistic art in like in the forest, and then to like this Greek mythology type of white background, golden painted art style. I thought that was really fun. I really dig the character. She's coming into her own and making a big decision in here, which is kind of tying in with all the glimpses of the other Amazonians that we've been seeing throughout this run. But I think it's a really refreshing take on the Wonder Woman character, and I like learning along with her. Next up is Harley Quinn issue 8. This is by Stephanie Phillips, Yvonne Placenkia, Derek Chu, Mary Javins, and Daron Bennett. So this is a title that I tried. I think I read the first 3 issues. It wasn't for me. It's a title that I ended up dropping. The art style was very like pencil-y and sketchy, and it just wasn't interesting enough story-wise to keep me involved. So didn't read Harley number 8. But I did read Batman The Long Halloween Special by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. So this is kind of like a small little trade paperback $8 book. It's basically an extra story from The Long Halloween. It's got that same type of gritty art style, although sometimes a little sloppier than I remember it being. Calendar Man, Two-Face stuff, Batman totally badass in this type of story. Brutal, and it was definitely a worthy addition to the Long Halloween lore by Loeb and Sale. So worth a pickup if you really dug that story, which I'm sure you did. I think the Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale Batman Omnibus is like the Batman Omnibus I recommend when people ask me what Batman Omnis they should get. All right, guys, now we're on to Task Force Z, issue 1. This is by Rosenberg, Barrows, Ferreira, and Lucas. Death was just the beginning. I really like this issue. I like this story. It feels dark. It feels Elseworlds. Basically, it's Red Hood leading a team of zombie Batman rogues like Bane, like the Arkham Knight. And we find out how this is happening, how they're alive, what's keeping them alive, what their purpose is. And it's kind of like a Suicide Squad with zombies kind of a thing. Man-Bat stuff was interesting. It was fun. It felt very much like it had this dark atmosphere about it, but I really dug it. You have a zombies book, and then you have a vampires book. Hey, it's the week of Halloween, right? So this is DC vs. Vampires, issue 1 out of 12 by James Tynion IV. He's joined by Rosenberg and Schmidt. This one, I didn't dig it as much, but it has a really fun hook at the end. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil it, but it's this guy, and I don't really know him. I'm not familiar with him. Some kind of vampire guy. Trying to make his way to the Hall of Justice. He needs the Justice League. There's this vampire plan to take over the world. And like I said, it's just a huge twist that I can't even spoil. I think it's worth it. It's a 12-issue miniseries. Issue 1 started slow. It felt very comic booky. It didn't feel like an Elseworlds horror type story that I kind of expected and kind of what we got with the Task Force Z. But it's intriguing the way that they kind of set up the end. I might be overselling it, but I liked it. Also out from DC today, it's Deathstroke Inc. issue 2 by Joshua Williamson. Hi-Fi's on the color, and who do we have here? Steve Wands on the letters. I passed on this, man. I didn't like Deathstroke Inc. number 1. I read too many comics to read stuff I don't like, and this is why I'm mentioning this, because I don't want people to be like, what about Deathstroke Inc. 2? I didn't read it. I dropped it after 1 issue. Then we got Checkmate issue 5 out of 6 by Bendis, Stewart, and Taylor. This is another one I dropped. I think I gave it a couple more issues. I might have read 3 of them or so. I just didn't have enough backstory on Checkmate and what's going on with these characters to really care and be invested in it. I didn't know what the hell was going on, so I dropped this title as well. Then we got Wonder Woman Black and Gold issue 5. I didn't pick this one up from the jump. I read a lot of these black, white, and red books, black, white, and blood, red, white, and blue, and they're just, you know, a bunch of short stories with the main character. Again, I read too much stuff. I didn't have time. They're usually bigger, thicker issues, so I just passed up on the Wonder Woman Black and Gold series. Aquaman The Becoming issue 2 is out today. It's by Brandon Thomas, Skylar Patridge, and Andrea Lucas. I didn't pick this one up on issue 1. It just didn't feel like it was really for me. However, my buddy RWBY really dug issue 1. He's a huge Aquaman fan, and I know he liked a lot of the training sequences and the headquarters and things of that nature, but I'm not reading this series, so couldn't tell you. Moving on to Deep Target. Issue 1 out of 7 is here. This is an Aquaman Green Arrow story by Thomas, Cliquette, and Areola. I really like this, man. You have this premise of like this rich guy kind of dealing with being able to travel back in time, testing, bringing stuff back, bringing stuff to the past and stuff like that, which ends up making him the bad guy throughout the story. And I don't really want to give the spoiler on why this is a unique story with Green Arrow and Aquaman, but there's a twist here, and it's really fun, and it's kind of like a Freaky Friday type of thing. I guess that's giving you a big enough hint. All right, then we have Batman Foundation Fortnite. This is by Scott Snyder. I didn't realize that. Donald Mustard, Greg Capullo on the cover art. Huh. And Christos Gage and Joshua Nixon as well. You know, I didn't pick this up just because I haven't read any of the Batman Fortnite stuff. I heard decent things about them. I know there was a lot of hype with like the code that you can get a skin or something like that, but I didn't really pick this one up, but man, now I'm kind of regretting it. All right, and the last one from DC is RWBY. Is it RWBY? Justice League issue 7 by Bennett and Dolfo and Hetrick. This is one that I just never picked up. It didn't really seem like it was for my demographic. Seemed like a little bit more on the younger audience type of vibe, so never got into this. All right, guys, on to Marvel Comics. We're going to start with Amazing Spider-Man 77, the new arc, which I'm so excited about. Patrick Gleason, Saladin Ahmed, Kelly Thompson. Why is there so many writers on here? Zeb Wells. So I didn't dig this issue, man. I liked the last 2 issues. I liked the direction they were going to. I hated everything with Ben Reilly at the Beyond Corporation, training, fighting against Misty. The jokes were cringe. It was so whack. I hate Ben Reilly being bossed around by these people, and he's forced to do their bidding and kind of be observed by them at all times. I really hated that, man. But when he did his own thing in the streets, being Spider-Man towards the end, I got back into it. We introduced a familiar Spider-Man villain here. I'm not going to give it away. So there seems to be something up with that villain. And I like the interaction, and I like the art style once we get to that part of the book. But man, the first like 1/3 or half of this book was kind of a chore to get through. Daredevil's here with issue 35, Chip Zdarsky with a Mobile and Cowles. So really dug this. We finally kind of got what we've been wanting to get out of this run. You know, we had the Daredevil in prison stuff. We have now three Daredevils, but we essentially we're left off with Elektra and Typhoid Mary as Daredevils fighting the Bullseye clone. So that's kind of what went down here. Kind of digging the relationship between Mary and Kingpin, even though Kingpin is a little bit on the soft side here. But I think we're finally moving forward to the point where we wanted to be here. I liked it. It was a fun, action-packed issue. Bullseye being kind of losing his mind a little bit, taking hostages. Yeah, I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, I dug it. And then we got Moon Knight issue 4 by Jed MacKay, joined by Rosenberg and Cappuccio. Really like this issue a lot. As you can see from the cover, Moon Knight, it's like a team up with Tigra. It's kind of a self-contained story, and I thought the villain was Jigsaw, but I think his name was Rampage, and Jigsaw's in here too. But basically, this guy who has the theory that Moon Knight's nothing without the money. Let's take his money away or threaten to make him broke, and then we'll get him to do our bidding. So does that work? Is Moon Knight nothing without the money? You got to read to find out. I really liked it. All right, then we're on to Wolverine issue 17, Benjamin Percy with Smith, Kubert, Medina, Tartaglia. I don't know, man. I'm just disappointed with this Wolverine run. What even happened here? Maverick comes back. And what else happens? I don't know. What happened in this book? What's going on with this whole run? I mean, what happened to the Omega Red Vampire storyline? They just completely dropped that. I don't feel like it got resolved. And I can't even remember what the hell happened in this book. It was forgettable. Put it like that. All right, then we have Marauders issue 25 by Jerry Dugan. He's joined by Wilson and Phil Noto. I dropped this one a couple issues back, maybe 10 issues back. I don't know. I just didn't like the direction it was going. It was one of the stronger Dawn of X titles, but then it kind of just fell off for me. And I haven't been reading it since, and I don't feel like I've been missing much, really. Then moving on to Inferno issue 2 by Jonathan Hickman. He's joined by Cassili and Curel, and I really like this issue. At first, I thought it was going to be a silent issue. The first few pages have no dialogue, but it's showing Mystique and how she's plotting on the Quiet Council, how she wants to get Destiny a seat on the council, which we've seen from the first issue. But it's an oversized comic, a $6 book, and you got your dialogue in here. I really liked it. It was kind of like, I don't know why I want to say an Ocean's 11 type of take on how Mystique plots to enact her plan to get these people to vote one way or the other. So basically we have new Quiet Council members here, and Hickman, man, the Orcus Forge is back. We have Nimrod again. This is like Hickman finishing what he started with Hoxpox. So I really dig it. I want to see where it goes. It feels like it's going to go out with a big bang because he's done after this, right? So we should get that resolved. The Moira McTaggart stuff, her being so scared of Destiny, and the interactions with Professor X, Magneto, Moira, and then Emma Frost, and kind of bringing her into the loop, which doesn't really work out that well for them. Great issue. All right, then we have Darth Vader, issue 17. This is by Pack, Enencio, and Sinclair. You know, I really liked Darth Vader. You know, it's getting bogged down with the War of the Bounty Hunter stuff. I feel like the last 4 issues have been like the same thing over and over again. You have badass scenes with Darth Vader, but otherwise it's just like a bunch of side characters I don't really care about. Darth Vader, I don't know, he's going after Luke, they're going after Han Solo. I don't, you know, it's kind of like in between movies, but I don't know, I just feel like it's been the same thing kind of over and over again. Next up we have Sword issue 9. This is by Al Ewing. He's joined by Campagni and Proto Bunker, is that right? It's really small on my screen. I dropped Sword, I think after the first issue. Kind of one that I regret a little bit. I think that people have good things to say about Sword, but I'm not reading this title anymore. And that kind of goes for Black Widow 12 as well. This is by Kelly Thompson, Cassandre, and Diamasio. I just never picked it up. I don't even remember issue 1 coming out, but I hear really good things about this. It looks like it starts a new arc. I didn't pick it up. Now, Spider-Woman 16 is out by Carla Pacheco, Perez, and Frank D'Armata. I can't believe they're on issue 16. I remember issue 1 came out, and I read it, and I completely hated it. Like, wow, it was so cringe. And they're still going, man. Issue 16. I haven't been on this since issue 1, so let me know who's reading this in the comments. All right, then we have Darkhold Blade issue 1. This is by Dan Kibblesmith, Federico Sabatini, Rico Renzi, and Caton Cowles. You know, I think this is the first Daniel Kibblesmith book I've ever read. I know he was responsible for that kind of New Warriors reboot that never came out. This one was dope, man. These Darkhold one-shots is because all of these characters read the Darkhold in the Darkhold Alpha, and now they're kind of living through their nightmares. So this is a nightmaric world where vampires took over. Blade's the vampire hunter, and he may or may not be possessed by a vampire. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of like a horror what-if take type of book. I liked it. And lastly, we have Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters IG-88 #1. Didn't read it. I dropped everything Star Wars and except for Darth Vader, and that one's close to getting the cut now too. So that just about does it for Marvel. Before we jump into the independent titles, before I get into my pick of the week, a quick shout out from the sponsor of this video, Cheap Graphic Novels. Cheap Graphic Novels is your online home for brand new graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They pride themselves on packaging your books so they arrive safely and in excellent condition, as well as prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain bin for even greater deals up to 90% off cover price. CGN is excited to announce that they're now taking pre-orders. They're making it easier for you to ensure that you don't miss out on the hottest releases. Cheap Graphic Novels is currently running a special promotion for the Geminites. If you're a first-time customer, let them know that you were referred by Mint Collectibles at checkout, and you'll receive a credit for free shipping on your next order. This promotion is only valid for the United States. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discounts and quality shipping and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. All right, now a couple of things with Image. Last week, they had a lot of book delays due to the paper shortage, and like Spawn, King Spawn, Gunslinger Spawn didn't come out. I got the PDFs early from Image, so I was able to read them, but I think those come out this week and like time before time. But now I'm seeing stuff that's supposed to come out this week that didn't come out either, like Spawn 323, Crossover 9, things like that. I did read Echolands issue 3. Echolands looks beautiful, but I don't know what the hell is going on. This story is so like, I don't know, it's just very hard to follow is how I would put it. Horizontal layout, kind of storytelling throughout the artwork, and it flows very nice, and it's very easy on the eyes. I just don't know what's going on. All right, and then from Image, we have Oblivion Song, issue 34, Image Skybound to be exact. Robert Kirkman, he's joined by Lorenzo De Felici. So I enjoy Oblivion Song. I mean, it's not as strong with the character development as, say, like a Walking Dead, but it's the big battle between the interdimensional alien Kuthal and the humans, and kind of some big revelations here on what's causing this certain growth in the aliens, and the kind of what's gonna, you know, potentially end this rift between them. The coloring is great on here. I like how people jumping through dimensions and such. A lot of nice action scenes here. Some of it's hard to follow when you're dealing with those aliens, the Kuthal. They're fighting each other. It's kind of hard to tell who's who or what's going on. And maybe that's some of the downfall of the book, but I do enjoy it overall. Kind of going to jump around from the indie guys here. So Boom Studios' House of Slaughter by James Tynion IV. He's joined by Tate Bromble. I didn't love it. I didn't love it as much as Something Is Killing the Children, or what was the other one called? This is House of Slaughter one. It was okay, man. It doesn't follow Erica. It follows another member of the House of Slaughter, as you can see here on the cover, and kind of showing the factions, the white mask versus the black masks, and how they kind of hunt and play with each other, kind of, and go on hunts for monsters. So in that aspect, it was interesting, and it was good. I just didn't love it. It was still good, though. Also from Boom Studios, we have Dark Blood issue 4. This is by Latoya Morgan, Moises Hidalgo, and yeah. You know, I like the writing and the storytelling of Dark Blood. It's kind of jumping around a lot from 3 different timelines, the day before the variants, 10 years before, all 20 years before, whatever. I don't know. Not enough action going on here for me. Not enough movement from one issue to the next. It's kind of like we're in the same spot where we left off on the previous issue, just doing flashbacks and such. Our guy's not really using his powers whatsoever. So yeah, it's kind of dull in that sense. And I gotta be honest, there's so many titles on Image and stuff that I don't know if that comes out this week or not, so I'm gonna just jump to my pick of the week here. The video's been long enough, and I went with Nita Howe's Nightmare Blog issue number 1. Man, this is by Rodney Barnes, Jason Sean Alexander, Patrick Reynolds, and Lewis NCT. This was right up my alley, man. I love big heaven and hell, God and the devil, angels and demons type of stories. So this really had all of that. Kind of like the story of Lucifer, a fallen angel, and these demons that are just so mad and jealous of God's creation that he treats better than them and gave them free will and gave them earth. So that type of story, and then it's basically dealing with demons possessing humans and pretty much starting a rebellion. I loved it. I love the pacing. The art style was dark and gritty. It was horror, but not horror. And what's funny, I'm not like a horror movie guy, but when it comes to comics, they really get me. So I don't know what that's all about, but I totally dig this. It was an unexpected book that I just read because it was in issue 1, and it was my favorite of the week. All right, guys, I hope that edited way better than it was as I recorded it. Let me know what your favorite comics were and what your pick of the week was in the comments down below. Let me know if you like the new format. Do you like to know kind of everything that came out this week, at least from the big 2, and what I read and what I didn't read? Drop me a comment below. Like I said, I'm going to announce a giveaway for the 135,000 subscriber milestone real soon. It's probably going to be some omnibus and hardcovers and such, so stay tuned for that. And make sure to check out last week's top 10 comics of the week I did with Rock and Robbie, as well as last week's new comic book day reviews if you missed them. Thanks for your time. Appreciate you watching. Stay minty fresh. Peace.